Baldur's Gate 3, at this point, is without question going down as one of the best games of all time in history. It doesn't matter if you don't like a part of it, some aspects of it, or whatever. It is just fact that Larian have pulled off an absolute miracle with what they did. I mean, honestly, let's be real. The story, the gameplay, the memes, the retention, the sales, the absolute everything. And on top of that, the most important achievement, the most crowning achievement, well, actually, two of them. One was the fact that Xbox paid them to become a Game Pass game when they were already successful, which means that Xbox had to overpay them heavily, which is hilarious. But, I mean, Xbox and Microsoft are horrible with money nowadays, so there you go. And the other one, the truly impressive part, is the fact that Baldur's Gate is a Wizards of the Coast IP that they have full oversight of. And Wizards of the Coast never thought that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be good, so they actually didn't interfere that much with the game. So Larian could actually make something special. If Wizards of the Coast knew that this has even a shot at being remotely successful, they would have probably ruined Baldur's Gate 3 for everyone. And now, a new thing is happening. People, gamers, are upset because Larian is gonna use AI for Divinity Original Sin. Which, on one hand, I'm not gonna lie, is kinda understandable because it's AI and everything AI nowadays is slop. Even though AI is way better than your typical average artist by 50 billion miles at this point, and I feel not even remotely bad saying this. I hate artists. And on the other hand, it is Larian, so I actually do kind of... I support them still. They have made decent decisions. They have made all decisions with gamers in mind. So the idea that they're not they're gonna use generative AI for something is not exactly the worst thing in gaming. I think they're gonna use it responsibly. I think they're going to use it decently. I think they're probably going to use AI for, small things here and there, stuff that no one really wants to do and no one's going to pay attention to. And, well, let's be real. The quality's probably going to suffer slightly, just slightly. That I think is inevitable because AI is just still trash. I honestly, the way AI is going, I don't think we have to worry about any type of basilisk taking vengeance upon us for not supporting it, boys. I'm gonna be real. AI does not seem like a threat. Granted, AI recently did achieve human-level intelligence because it lost money on 90% of its stock trades, so definitely human-level intelligence was achieved at some point. But other than that, I kind of trust Larian, and I think that's the big thing. Now, granted, people are also still mad and sad about other things, and there's a lot. There's a lot to this discussion.
Just over 2 years ago, Larian Studios dropped a bombshell on this gaming industry, a game that really has defined this generation, and honestly, you could make an argument, one of the most important games in recent memory. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that many developers are now striving for. It really set the example of a standard that used to be what this gaming industry represented, but it kind of went...
Well, to be fair, your typical developer is calling Baldur's Gate 3 an aberration. GTA 5, Rockstar level of nonsense. I'm sorry, that's what they call it. Rockstar level of nonsense. Pathetic. Just because someone actually tried and put effort into their game and other developers are like, oh no! Work and dedication, how will we ever match this? Pathetic.
No way until, well, Larian reestablished it. That's why it's gotten me so excited for the future of this video game industry. But Baldur's Gate 3, like I said, it was just universally loved. You can see it with those critic review scores, even user review scores as well. It's gone on to be a sales behemoth, over 15 million copies sold at the end of 2024. I think it's closer to 20 now. And
probably.
Then, look, there was controversy. This was something that we talked extensively about.
Baldur's Gate 3, SteamDB, is still amazing, by the way. It is still popping off hot, by the way.
because there was a debate in gaming circles, especially game developers, what Baldur's Gate 3 should represent. We heard from a lot of AAA game developers saying that this should not be the standard moving forward. It's an outlier. And there were some indie developers.
Yes, the weakness of these people, as always. The weak should never do anything. I'm sharing a screen, look at this. 40k people still playing this. Okay, 40k people. Granted, not even 40. And this is less than 5% retention, but you need to understand. This is when it released. This is 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And still having a 5% retention and 96% positive reviews? That is insane. That is insane. That is absolutely beautiful. And the final update happened, and look at that. Look at that. 20% of people came back, roughly. Slightly less. But 20%. This is good. Baldur's Gate is slamming, absolutely slamming it by every statistic imaginable. There is no way to say that this game is not living up to expectations or aging poorly. That's just not happening.
That got in that, but I think there was a miscommunication in which you had indie developers saying don't put that type of pressure on us, which I think is understandable. But the AAA games industry had studios like Obsidian, Blizzard, BioWare, Bethesda, and so on and so forth all reacting, calling it Rockstar level nonsense for scope. This was actually a comment that's
well, considering GTA 6 is gonna be woke trash, hey, calling it Rockstar level nonsense. No, now it's gonna be Baldur's Gate 3 level nonsense moving forward.
Specifically came from an Xbox executive saying, I would not be surprised if this was more dev effort than the next 2 or 3 games in the genre combined. It's Rockstar level nonsense for scope. This stirred up a ton of controversy and a lot of discussions, but here we are 2 years later.
What controversy? This guy is clearly out of touch from reality. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be completely honest. Oh, someone tried and made a good game? Nonsense. No one's gonna do that.
And the Baldur's Gate 3 team is back and they're ready to reveal their next game, which, like I said, people thought that maybe they just go to the route of making Baldur's Gate 4. That's logically what a lot of game developers in this...
No, that's what Wizards of the Coast is now doing, and again, Baldur's Gate 4 made would be absolutely horrible, even if it was by Larian. Because Wizards of the Coast, after the success of 3, is now paying attention because they think, oh no, actually, Dead IP is really good. Now we're gonna cash in on Baldur's Gate 4. Oh boy, it's gonna be sad.
This industry would do, because it's a guaranteed massive success, seller. It probably would have been something that maybe is even more successful than what they're working on right now. It's what we've come to expect out of just studios in this entertainment sphere, not just in gaming, but it's always, when's the sequel coming? And with Baldur's Gate 3...
Look at that, the ship crashing and a bunch of feminists are instantaneously going out to salvage the wreckage. Wow.
They said that was enough. We're moving on. We're going to focus on our owned IP, our own franchises, maybe something new. We didn't really know what that was up until just recently. And yeah, this is something that Larian explained in a number of interviews. Sven Vink, who runs the company, really just gave strong indication that they wanted to focus on them. And they didn't want to work on a franchise that Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, that's what they own. They have full control over it. And Wizards of the Coast, they say they're going to make a Baldur's Gate 4 someday. That'll be a choice, honestly. But
they're already making it. And don't worry, when this comes closer, I will absolutely drag it through the mud. Through the floor, through the brick wall, and everything. Because Baldur's Gate 4 by Wizards of the Coast is going to be probably one of the worst games ever made in history.
That's a different discussion to be had. But the first indication that we were going to be getting back into the universe of Divinity came from this mysterious monolith. We talked about this a little bit in a recent video, but there had been a lot of confusion about what this was. Was it God of War Egypt? Was it the Elder Scrolls 6? What was it? There were so many different things that it could possibly...
Wait, this video was made when we already knew what this is.
But we started to get indication of what it was thanks to a trademark listing that it was a new Divinity game. That was our strongest indication, but a lot of people didn't know what that necessarily meant. And yeah, Larian Dev says the mysterious Divinity statue was a statement for skill and craftsmanship amid the age of AI. And this is actually what, Cromwell, who is, I think he's an executive over at Larian, he said, it's called the Hellstone. We're all increasingly divorced from the physicality, so we wanted to build a monument for not only our international teams to gather around, but for the rest of the gaming community to rally around. We wanted people to get excited for the next big game on their list. We wanted to do it in a way that employed skill and craft by hand to drive people outside to see it and to talk about it. And that's exactly
I honestly thought that it's 3D printed. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I thought that that's 3D printed.
what happened on social media. So many people assumed it was AI or even a UE5 render. Expectations are understandably low. We saw by the reaction, however, that excitement is at an all-time high, which, say what you will, they accomplished this greatly. There was just non-stop conversations about what this could be, what it is, and there even went into a religious zone, which somebody passed that they didn't even know was gaming related. It was a whole thing on social media. And Cromwell says the level of skill and craftsmanship in creative spaces has never been higher, and I hope we can all make time to go out in the world and appreciate it when we see it. The physicality between the process and audiences that maintains a necessary level of mutual respect.
Okay.
It's very much okay to be excited about video games, and we can't wait to see you in person when we're ready on the road to Divinity. And yeah, they even made the leak, which this was the first indication that we got, the first proof that this was Divinity related, the statue. And yeah, they made it their header, which is, it's funny, let's be honest. But yes, if you watch the Game Awards, we had this very confusing, very grotesque trailer,
Oh, do not play the trailer. That's instantaneous demonetization. I'm skipping that, okay? Money speaks, and I listen.
cinematic announcement trailer, 120,000 likes to under 1,000 likes, just shows you
What was the new Overwatch type of shooter that got pretty much the opposite rating of this? With the Black King Arthur? Oh boy, what a great time to be alive.
what Larian Studios now represents. They are at the pinnacle of this gaming industry. And this is a studio that has made their mark in this industry, and people are excited to see what's next. And we did see this press release for Divinity, and it's a brand new game that doesn't require experience with previous Larian titles. Those who played Divinity Original Sin and Original Sin 2 will be able to enjoy greater understanding and continuity. And one thing that a lot of people don't know about Larian as a developer is that, one, they've worked on this Divinity franchise for over 20 years. This is really this is their baby. But also, the original games in this franchise really started off as action RPGs, very underrated, some of them. But yeah, Divine Divinity, Beyond Divinity, Divinity 2, those games, that's where things started. And obviously they went the CRPG direction. Original Sin was more of a spin-off. Original Sin 2, they went off of that because that's where the franchise really started to gain its heights. And that's why with them talking about it, it definitely sounds like they're going to go in that direction of a CRPG. That is the game that put them on the maps with Baldur's Gate 3. So it makes sense that it's going to be play like it, but we don't know for sure. We don't know. And for what it is worth, Sven Ving did release this little mini statement, thank you, on their social media right after announcing the game.
Hi everybody. First of all, thank you for voting for us at the Game Awards. It means a lot to us.
And yeah, they won Best Community Support with Baldur's Gate 3. People still play that game endlessly today. Shows you the impact, and the immense amount of play that you can get with that game.
Your support literally energizes the entire team every single day that we are working on our games. We've revealed Divinity, so this is the Healthstone. It was our little game to tease you. It was really a lot of fun seeing you trying to guess which game was behind it, but now you know it's Divinity. It's going to be a special game. It's going to be our biggest game. We're putting everything we have into the studio. We're putting all of the experience that we built up over the last 30 years into
Oh geez, all in again, huh?
it, and I think you're gonna love it when you're gonna see it. Keep on following us, subscribe, whatever. You will see a whole bunch of updates at some point in the future. We're still working on it, so it'll take us a little bit of time, but I think you're gonna really, really love it when the game is finally going to be shown to you as gameplay. Thank you, take care, everyone.
And yeah, the big thing he says there is the fact that it is their biggest game ever. And some people have had certain reactions to that. Again,
Yeah, their biggest game ever, but they're planning to make it faster than Baldur's Gate 3. Bigger takes less time, and that's where the AI part comes in that people do not like. But bigger than Baldur's Gate 3, man, that is gonna be pretty hard. But admittedly, if they're all-inning once again, it's gonna be good. Now, granted, will this be a success? Probably. Almost 99 certain this will be a success because selling probably 20 million copies at this point from Baldur's Gate 3 is kind of a big deal. It gives a lot of money. So even if their next game is not successful, even though they're all in per se, they probably will still have leftover money to do something, okay? Even if it flops. Which it will never flop, okay? Whatever Larian does next is gonna succeed. They have gotten so much goodwill from the community. They still have a lot of money, and people expect greatness from them. There are no red flags about Larian, well, pretty much except the AI statement. But that AI statement, again, I think is overblown by a lot of people on places like Twitter and so on. Other than that, we're in, boys.
And this goes back to what I talked about at the beginning of this video in terms of Baldur's Gate 3 and that game already being massive. The fact that they're trying to up it with Divinity already has some people scratching their heads, with some a little concerned about that. But yes, Svenvink did point out, he said this on his Twitter account, I don't think I've ever been so nervous about an announcement as this one. But here it is. This is our biggest, most ambitious RPG yet, and we can't wait to show it to you. And we also had this little press release they put out. Despite our long history with the series, this is our first game entitled Divinity. We're ready to bring everything we've done previously into one place. This marks the beginning of something with more breadth, depth, and intimacy than anything we've created before. Like I said, these are lofty standards they are even setting themselves, because they know what Baldur's Gate 3 represented. We've been building towards this moment ever since we took our fate into our own hands. This is the Divinity we've always wanted to make, and you're going to have...
And you know what's the most interesting part about this? It's the fact that typically, when you have some kind of breakout hit success show like Fallout, the Fallout TV series, let's take it low, okay? If you have that, the breakout success series like the Fallout show, typically the next season never meets expectations. But the next game after Baldur's Gate 3, I think it will meet expectations, because you need to understand, Baldur's Gate 3 was a role-playing game that gave you a lot of options and whatnot. You could do a lot of things. And I think Larian can replicate that. So this is not going to be a situation where it suffers that, as always, the follow-up is worse than the original. So I think they're even going to be able to overcome that aspect.
Loads of fun with it, which to gamers this should make you extremely excited, because I have to believe that Larian understands the pressure that they're putting on themselves by making these bold statements. And this was something that Cromwell, again the executive at Larian, he responded to somebody about the trailer. This is a Twitter YouTuber such. They said Larian is such a great studio because they're not afraid to push boundaries, gore, all of that, and evil choices. They don't hold back or sanitize stories to make them more palatable. Can't wait. And he says the phrase treating the audience with a level of intellectual respect came up a lot in planning. This is one thing that we've had, one of the biggest problems we have in this gaming industry, especially with franchises that kind of move out of that niche space and do more of a widespread appeal. They really sanitize themselves. And
Blizzard, for example, doesn't even know what the intellectual capacity means, okay? They will, but they know how to remove it from players, okay? Wow.
It's something that irritates longtime fans, and I absolutely love that Larian's like, no, we're not doing that. We're going all in. We're going to do what people know us for. It is about trying to shock them. It's about trying to match their powers of comprehension so it resonates. We know people are capable of appreciating a three-dimensional world. So not treating people like 12-year-olds, definitely appreciate that here from the Larian team. And yeah, we have had reactions. It has to be mentioned that some people are up in the air if this is the right choice. Is a return to the Divinity series the right move for Larian after Baldur's Gate 3? And this was PC Gamer. One specific reporter, where Robin Valentine, gave a more of a dismissive attitude towards this, saying, don't get me wrong, I love Larian's RPGs, and I also think it was the right move for the studio to work on its own IP going forward. But while I love both original Sin games, I just don't think there's anything interesting about this as a setting. Not only is it fundamentally a pretty generic fantasy world, it also has very...
Every fantasy world is fundamentally generic. Oh my god. That's not what makes the world special. Wow. Like, oh, all fantasy worlds are fantasy, which makes them generic because everything... That's such a stupid statement. That is such a useless statement.
a little consistency of tone or style.
This is critique. This is not even critique. This is just anger for anger's sake. Useless.
To me, Original Sin 2 felt like it was in a different world to the previous games, and both are disconnected from the other games in the Divinity series. Again, they're naming this as Divinity for a reason. I really do think that this is going to be another massive fresh start for the franchise. It just felt like a soup of fantasy tropes that Larian drops whatever it likes into each time. This is the series where, for one entry, they decided dragons with jetpacks were a thing, and then never mention it again. They continue saying, I'd much rather see those talents to be put work on a completely new setting with a much more interesting premise, and without any of the baggage.
They can just change the setting. They can adapt the setting. It's a fantasy setting. Like how hard is it? This is such a nothing. This is not even good pessimism. This is just negativity for negativity's sake. Sad.
Of Divinity, particularly a shift of genre, could have been really refreshing. Imagine all the interesting immersive sim-like design in a sci-fi world, for example. I think one thing that needs to be said is that
this guy's literally like, oh, I don't actually like middle-aged fantasies. How about Cyberpunk? I like Cyberpunk. Can you please make me a Cyberpunk game? God damn.
Larian has earned the benefit of the doubt, at least for now, with this game. They're going all in on their franchise. This is what they've worked so many years on. And obviously, they want to do something massive here. They want to accomplish something massive, even more than Baldur's Gate 3. And I think they've earned our trust to at least see that vision through. So I don't really I don't get behind this perspective at all. But PC Gamer also, again, saying that the trailer is cool, but I suspect Larian's body horror Burning Man Splatfest doesn't set an accurate tone for the full game. And if I'm right, it'll be weird that it's happened twice. I just don't agree with that. But look, there's a lot of people being very dismissive already. While there has been immense amount of positivity, there's also some that, yeah, I'm disappointed after I saw the cinematic trailer. First of all, it gave zero familiarity with the Divinity universe or games. They pushed the lamest low-hanging fruits of shocking imagery. Yeah, some people are really not happy with the gore and all of that within that.
Yeah, people have an issue with that, which is kind of strange. Again, we have become so weak. This should not be a problem for gamers.
Trailer. People saying the only disappointing thing about this trailer is that we did not even see Sven, and I'd agree with that. We had some viral comments going online. I love Larian and I love Divinity Original Sin 2 and Baldur's Gate 3. That said, the new trailer for Divinity was just gross. It felt like it was kind of reveling in how disgusting it could be, and I think that was kind of the point. Another person saying me not like...
I mean, that wasn't even super disgusting, at least by my standards.
Watching people puke and pigs eating the puke while people are burned to death. And yeah, people...
That's a reference, by the way.
Reactions. This feels like a 16-year-old's version of grim dark fantasy. Hey, Larian is making a new Divinity.
It's not grim dark fantasy. Again, people who don't like it and then try to critique it, I think, are completely missing points.
Game, it's bigger than Baldur's Gate 3. Oh god, oh Christ, no guys, don't do that to yourselves. You can make it smaller, it's okay. My scathing hot take that no one asked for, I wish they would make a game smaller than Baldur's Gate 3. They do have 2 games in development.
Like, no one's doing this, no one's asking this, but there's some people like, I have 5 wives, 7 children, 3 stepwives, and 17 unborn children. I have only 5 minutes to play the game, so can you please make it smaller so I can finish it in less than 500 years? Thank you. Like, come on.
It is worth mentioning that we don't know what the other game is. The game was chronically unfinished and had huge inconsistencies in quality and polish between the acts. That has been one of the critics.
True, but it's still pretty good. So, honestly, at the end of the day, I think that's absolutely fine. Anyway, that was Legacy Killer HD, 10 out of 10. Bye!